completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure that every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment. Some deployments are longer than others, and I have more respect and gratitude for those sailors than anybody. What they do in those high seas and those austere conditions with less port calls, it's incredible. I mean, Americans don't understand what it's like to do that. So as someone who's not been on a ship like that, but been on long deployments, I feel it.
So Hegseth obviously lying there. The sailors from the USS Abraham Lincoln are talking about disastrous conditions, but at least he bothered to pretend to care. So that was nice at the end. Trump, not as much. Let's watch.
Family members of U.S. service members are concerned about the conditions on board the USS Lincoln.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship.
Has the deployment's gone on too long?
No. Not nearly long enough.
Wow. First he said they were lying. He said, no, that's not happening. And then at the end there, he said they haven't been out there nearly long enough. So apparently Miriam's war, our war against Iran on behalf of Israel, is going to last a lot longer, and those sailors are gonna have to suffer a lot longer, and Trump pretty much bragging about it. So Elliot's got the rest of the story.
Yeah, so we covered what it's like on board these ships earlier this week, but here's a quick refresher. So Annabelle Loma is the wife of a sailor who's deployed on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and this is what she told the Navy Times. Loma said her husband had been repeatedly overextended before he tried to jump from the carrier. He's scared. He thinks he'll get a dishonorable discharge, and just because he was burnt out, his 13-year career is ruined just like that. That's not fair, that's not right. That's not what you should be worried about right now. Loma has since claimed that the Navy tried to cover up what happened. I think that it was handled very poorly because they didn't inform me and they didn't want me to know, and they're just trying to cover this up. So if you think that's bad, it also gets worse. There are statements from an anonymous sailor on board the ship, according to Midas Touch. This deployment is the worst one, and I pray no other boat goes through the same. Even the people that have been deployed 100 times claim this is one of the worst and believe it can get worse than this. The Navy does not care. The mission will always come first. We haven't had anything fresh but meat because it's freezed. Sometimes it gets here rotten. Sadly, sailors on other ships are also experiencing similar conditions. Here's another statement reported by Midas Touch. Hi Aaron, I tried to message on Instagram, but I kept receiving an error message. My brother and his fiance are both in the Navy, and I can confirm what you have been reporting. His fiance is on the USS George H.W. Bush, not Lincoln, and was recently back in the US for a family emergency, so we were able to talk to her. She told us how they have virtually no food, water, or soap. They've been out at sea for 136 days with no end in sight. Morale is low and everyone is miserable. It's heartbreaking. Thank you for continuing to report and get the word out there. People need to know what is happening. So thankfully, we do have some good news. Evidently, it's been confirmed that the USS Abraham Lincoln will be replaced by another ship. So those sailors will get to go home. Cenk, any thoughts currently?
Yeah, they were supposed to go home in May. It's August now. I think the other ship's gonna get there around October. So a lot more suffering ahead. Look, Trump saying it's no big deal, kind of rubbing it in people's face. Usual Trump, just never cares. Earlier in the show, we showed him talking about gas prices and said he didn't care. Housing prices, that one he does care about. He wants them to be higher, he said. Why? Because he owns a bunch of homes.
Really great.
Yeah, that's great. But Elliot, like, we're overextending them, no question. They said there's a couple of reasons why. They said it was gonna last 4 to 5 weeks, this war. Here we are 6 months in, so no accountability from Trump on that. They didn't plan right, that's Hegseth, of course, right? And they believed the Israelis that it was gonna be easy. That's absurd, that's Trump. So every part of this is their fault. But this is also true in every war where they say, oh, support the troops. And then they didn't prepare them for IEDs in Iraq. We didn't have the armored Humvees. And then Rumsfeld said, well, you go to war with the army you have, not the one you wish you had. So all those folks who lost legs and arms and had traumatic brain injuries, now our sailors are suffering. And then of course, finally, the last part of it is we shouldn't even be in the war in the first place. The USS Abraham Lincoln shouldn't be there. We have zero American interests. Trump has even now admitted to insiders that we might leave without getting any nuclear deal because we never had an interest there in the first place. But Miriam Adelson wanted a war, so here we are.
Yeah, also yesterday, Pete Hegseth did confirm, I guess, what many Americans have been saying and been worried about, and what Cenk was pointing to. The US government is evidently preparing for a forever war with Iran. The US military has enough assets to maintain a naval blockade of Iran indefinitely, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said on Thursday. Indefinitely, the United States Navy can maintain a blockade like that because we'll rotate ships in and out as we have and will continue to. And yeah, as Cenk stated, when they started this, they said it would last just 4 to 6 weeks, and a lot of other people said no, it's going to be another forever war, and it seems like we're finding out which side was correct.
Yes, and when you say this war might last indefinitely, you're gonna lose a lot of support. When we want it wrapped up right the F now, bring the troops home, bring those poor guys home, bring them home to their families, and let's get back to serving America instead of a foreign country like Israel.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.